Hey there, commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. This is what it used to look like. Well, we're digital now, but this is August of 2021. Mike Guinan, Vice President of Operations Services for White Castle Restaurants. This is the biggest facility that they ever built, and this was the last issue I printed before I went 100% digital. And it's always nice to hold the magazine in my hands. And let's see what I was doing back in my publisher's column. Oh, I was in Memphis at Graceland doing a site visit. We did a retreat there. It was awesome. And I hadn't been there for 15, 20 years. And they just had a little house and a souvenir shop across the street. Now they've built a huge complex with an amphitheater, and they've got all these buildings with all Elvis's clothes and guitars and cars. You could spend days out there. Anyway, but it was awesome. Memphis was great. Went to BB King's band on Friday night and went to Sun Studios where Elvis recorded all his albums. Saw the Martin Luther King, and oh man, Memphis was awesome. But if you haven't been to Graceland in a long time, go check it out. You could spend days there. It was an awesome, awesome time. But like I said, I don't miss the printer. I don't miss the post office and the digital transformation. It's been amazing. I had 49, just under 49 million people hit the website last year consuming content, and I'm on pace to hit somewhere between 70 and 80 million people this year. And we have software that gets rid of all the bots. So I know that, 99% of the people there are real. So it's not like the Twitter gig, or X, whatever they want to call it. But to all you out there that visit the website, you're all gold in my book. And I couldn't have gotten there without you. So thank you so much for finding us on the website. I normally have my studio, but I finally finished my house. Sold my other house that we maintain while we're rebuilding, and my studio isn't finished yet, so it'll be finished next week. And this is the downstairs. And today I have Ed Rogers. He's with Vadara. He's our surface material supplier that did our kitchen countertops and backsplash, etc. And he's out in New Mexico. And we figured, hey, I moved in and I'm just doing it downstairs in the kitchen. So Ed, say hello to our listeners out there from New Mexico.
Hello, everybody, and big welcome from the land of enchantment out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you,
Yeah.
David, for the invitation.
My mother's been to Albuquerque and Santa Fe, and I've driven through it in my travels, but always wanted to go out there for the balloon festival, right?
You have an open invitation. It is the signature event out here.
Yeah.
The place goes crazy. I think over 1 million people go through that balloon fiesta in about 10 days. And you mentioned BB King, and he has some roots here in Albuquerque. He lived here for about a minute, not too far from where my mother used to live. So I get it.
Yeah. Well, the band in talking about BB King, he's got a restaurant right on Beale Street. Anyway, he had the we went there on Friday night, and they have the BB King band, and it was awesome. I mean, the place was just rocking, and it was really, really cool. But always wanted to go out. That's like on my bucket list is to go out for the balloon festival.
You got to come, man. You just let me know, and we'll hook you up.
But everybody, this is the house that I built. I'm going to do a big splash in issue 7 coming up. I'm still getting unpacked, and it's we're going to give it a big splash in the upcoming issue at the end of July, and everybody's going to get to see it. I've already done my drone video from the top of the roof and for some of the garage that we doors that we used, and but. It was one of the really was one of the suppliers that, like I said, he did the kitchen countertops. And at the end there, I'll show you what the countertops are, but they look very similar to his background there. They've got a kind of veiny look. And my wife had like a gold, black and gold kind of theme and wood kind of natural look going on. But they looked beautiful. I mean, we are so, so happy that we went with Vadara. And Ed, what's your title there? Your
Executive Vice President.
There you
So
go. So upper management, and we're honored to have you on on the show. The way this is going to work is we're going to do it in 3 parts. You're going to tell your story, where you grew up, where you went to school, and you basically your resume and how you ended up at Vadara. And then we'll transfer into the last 5 years of the roller coaster that we've all been on, lessons that you learned, and then any trends that you see on the surfacing side and any new products, et cetera, that Vadara has coming out. And then you'll leave your contact info and then one positive thought or phrase for our listeners, and then we'll close it out. So with that said, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
Well, I'm a military kid. I'm a military brat. Actually born in Germany. We moved, as most military families did. Ended up in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1971 because my sister lived out here, and that was the only family in the United States. So moved from New Jersey to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Have been here ever since. Went to the Navy right out of high school, spent about 4 years floating around in the Pacific Ocean. I did it backwards, and then I came back to the University of New Mexico and went to school. Got involved in the countertop business in the late 80s through a friend of mine who was looking for a business partner. I'll date myself a little bit here because back in those days, we did laminate countertops. And we cut miles and miles of countertops for production builders in Albuquerque at the time, and got involved in the multifamily world kind of by accident and learned that from the ground up. So, most of my real education came from doing and learning how to cut laminate countertops. From there, we got approached to do a relatively new product called Ammonite. Did that, learned how to fabricate solid surface material, got approached by them. By that time, we had a pretty large company with about 55 installers and shop guys, and decided that I wanted to kind of get off that roller coaster because my day was spent driving around in my pickup truck delivering supplies to every job site we had. It's amazing how far a guy will drive for a tube of caulk. So brought that out to those job sites. They approached me. I decided that it was time to kind of get out of that world, and have been in the surfacing world ever since. So that's pretty much the early 90s on. Solid surface was king back in those days. Corian, Ammonite, those guys in the early 2000s. As I was sitting at a distributor partners of ours in Salt Lake City, I met a guy who came from a quartz company, and I didn't know anything about quartz. We walked out in the parking lot together. He said, "You need to quit doing that solid surface stuff and come do quartz." So I thought about it, joined that company. We were a fledgling company. We were introducing a brand new product to the market. Got kicked out of more fabrication shops than I can even count. Got guys telling us they didn't want to cut that fake stone. We persevered. I learned a tremendous amount about how you take a product to market, especially pioneering a brand new product. Spent over a decade there. Then in 2014, the owner of US Surfaces, which is the parent company of Vadara, approached me, and we had known each other throughout the years. We had worked on Costco together, and said, "Hey, we want to get in the quartz business." By that point, I was pretty much done with wanting to be a road warrior, and decided to take a leap of faith. And I joined US Surfaces in 2014. The idea was that we were going to launch a quartz line. We were going to do that through existing contacts that we all had in the industry. We knew some really good suppliers, and we took a leap of faith. And so, big shout out to Robert Butts and Lee Wood, who are the founders and owners of our company. We're privately held. They're entrepreneurial by nature, which fits for me really well. And we left on the journey. We reached out to some folks that we knew, put a website together, started getting product in-house, and we officially launched Vadara in 2016 in LA. Someone called us a boutique quartz company back then, and I love that phrase back then. We're a little bigger now, and I'll share that with you in a minute. Opened up in LA. We had a product line that looked very much like most people's. Back then in 2016, quartz didn't look anything like it looks today, like what you see behind me. went to market, and we're going to talk about the roller coaster. I think we had the front seat in the roller coaster based on timing for us in 2016. Vadara has been a wonderful experience. We have tremendous people. We have a tremendous product. It was a big risk to get into the quartz business in 2016, but it's paid off very, very well for us. We're a recognized leading brand in this industry now. And if you think about those 9 years, when we get ready to ride that roller coaster, I've got some stories to share with you.
Yeah. Well, what branch was your dad, I presume, was in the military? What
Army, yeah, he
army?
spent 26 years in the Army, retired as a command sergeant major. I mean, he fought in Korea, fought in Vietnam, and married a German because he'd been stationed in Germany
Sure.
forever. Three of my four brothers, we were born in Germany. And we were talking not too long ago, all of the bases that we went to as kids, along with what we did. We all served in the Navy, ironically enough. None of those bases even exist anymore.
Yeah.
They've all been developed in one way, shape, or form. So,
Well, we thank, listen, I come from a military family, and my grandfather was a lieutenant colonel. He was a combat engineer in World War II, and
oh, wow.
he built all the bridges that the Allies had bombed. And when after the war was over, they were in my family's been in demolition recycling since 1888, before sustainability was even a word. And
Got it.
we have old Super 8 millimeter that we've transferred to digital. Yeah, and anyway, we have these movies of all the tanks and the Jeeps coming in that they, we recycled in the, the scrap yard, and that they cut up for, recycling and stuff. And but I remember, putting the flag up every morning and taking it down at night, and it was you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
yeah. So I appreciate anybody that comes from a military family, or went in there. Go Navy. I say go Army, but hey,
Going Navy, beat Army.
yeah, exactly. So, but we appreciate both of your dad and your service.
Well,
Kudos.
thank you. Interesting side note when you talk about World War II. So my wife's grandfather was a platoon commander in the 442nd Regimental Combat Team in World War II. That's the Nice Regiment, and it's an amazing story. But we're actually
Yeah,
going over to
442.
Italy
Yeah.
in October on a World War II museum tour of the exact places he fought in World War II. I had the privilege of transcribing his notes
Oh,
that
wow.
to sit down and write back in the 90s, right before he passed away. And that was kind of fun. And so we thought about Normandy and things, and I stumbled upon this. And I said, hey, isn't this where Pop was? And my wife said, oh my God, that's exactly where he was. So we're taking 16 family members over there in October, and we're going to retrace his footsteps. So we're excited about doing that because there's not many of them left. I was just
Mm-mm.
about a month ago, and there was an honor flight that came in. And so I stayed and videoed it. And interestingly enough, it was, Korea, Vietnam, one World War II veteran. And he actually led them off the plane, and he was walking with his sign as a World War II veteran. So he had to be in his probably early 90s,
I was gonna say 90, if not 100, depending on how old he was.
walking and leading them through the airport. And it was great to see. I mean, people came from everywhere to watch this. So I got to experience that video, and I actually put it on LinkedIn.
It's amazing that you called him Pops, because my grandfather, we used to call him Poppy. That was his
Yeah.
title. I don't know, maybe it was the generation back then, but that's what he was. It's like Poppy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never got to meet him, but I've heard so many stories, and we go to the Adirondacks every summer, and their family been up there for 60 years. So I'm super excited to go. I'm the one that initiated hey, y'all want to go? Because we're going,
Yeah.
and we got 16 of us going. So
My mother,
yeah,
she just was cleaning out the house, and she sent me my grandfather's combat hat engineer from
Wow.
World War II, and it was like it was very very well maintained. And then also his winter jacket, his long jacket, and he had his arm. And it was, and she's like, "Well, I was going to donate it to the museum." I'm like, "No, no, 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 man, I'm going to take that. Send
Yeah.
the stuff to me, and I'll." And I still have his hard hat, from back in the day, and yeah. So, but that stuff is unbelievable. Just being able to see or meet a World War II uh, person that's still alive is
Yeah.
that's that's classic in my book, you know?
Yeah, I got to, they sent me all the notes and he had written them on a steno pad, right? And he wrote these down, I mean, decades after. But what was really cool was the kind of the personal side of it. Because he tells stories in there that, you're not going to see in any museum.
No.
Uh, but we actually got that together. We got it bound. We're going to actually give it to the World War II Museum to use. But yeah, fascinating. It's like never met him, but feel like I know him. So I'm sure I'll get goosebumps, if not a few tears, when we go see that terrain, because I've watched so many videos and read so much about it. What an amazing story
Oh
of
yeah.
that regiment. So, yeah, excited for that.
Well, like I said, we appreciate your service and your dad and grandfather, all that stuff. I mean, and that's just priceless. So let's talk about March of 2020, 5 years ago. Everything's cranking. Every city I went to has cranes going up, plenty of construction, things are just rolling along, and then boom, everything goes kaput. It's going to be a couple weeks, couple months. Here we are 5 years later. We're still kind of talking about it, even though we're out of the tunnel. Speed bumps, hindrances, potholes that we've gone through. Talk about how Vadara weathered the storm, and then what lessons that our listeners out there in commercial construction coffee talk would find of interest.
Well, what's interesting is we launched Vadara in 2016. We launched it in Los Angeles. Someone called us a boutique quartz at the time. Um, small, small product offering. Went to market, doing pretty well. Opened another division in San Francisco in 2017. Opened a couple, one in Chicago, one in Atlanta, actually. Those two didn't fare so well. So about 18 months in is kind of when our roller coaster ride started for us. And that was basically a ITC complaint that was produced against China. At that time, 90% of what we had as a product line was being made in China. We had really good supply partners. But we woke up one day and were basically told, look, that those countervailing duties and anti-dumping tariffs are going to be in the range of 300% or higher. So decision had to be made. We either get out, we find somebody else to do it, and the third and probably least likely alternative was to get into the manufacturing business ourselves. We weren't going to get out of the business. No way to find a real supplier because, like I said, 60% of all quartz was coming from China and 90% of veins, which were just becoming popular in the US, came out of China. So there wasn't really anybody to make that product. So our ownership decided to go all in, pushed all the chips in the middle of the table, and we talked to our suppliers at the time, asked if they were interested in building a factory or partnering with us somewhere. Two said no. Number three said, yes, we'll look at it. So in 2018, late 2017, early 2018, we got a sanitary wares factory in South Korea, refurbished it, got it ready to go, put 3 production lines in there, essentially to service ourselves. Because we were in trouble. We had a 6-week window in which to make some decisions. So we scrambled, got every slab we could, and then we started producing. At that time, we looked at, okay, what do we do? We had no idea where this road was going to lead. We eventually got up to 7 production lines in South Korea, but couldn't really find any suitable land or anything to build. It's very difficult if you're not from South Korea to be able to build there and have something long term. So we pivoted. We bought 110 acres in Thailand. Started putting up that permanent factory in late 2018, early 2019. In between, we dealt with a global pandemic, which started in Asia long before it got to the US. So we got to get both ends of that. After we got through that, we're building a factory. We're producing material. Then came the shipping crisis, where shipping costs went up 10x, literally overnight. And here we are building a factory. We got through that. We now fast forward to 2025. We have over 2 million square feet under roof of manufacturing capacity. We have 30 production lines that are running now. We employ about 2,000 people there. And we've dedicated space for about 10 production lines for Super Jumbo, which is kind of the next iteration, and continuing to grow. We've added a cut to size component, which will be possibly of interest to some of your commercial people, especially in the multi-family space. We now have distribution partners across the U.S. So yeah, we got in the front seat of that roller coaster. And Vadara has look, we had some luck along the way, right? We didn't sit down and plan this completely. No chance, no how. But we've always had really good partners, and we've had really good people in our organization that are very forward-looking. We believe that we were primarily responsible for the explosion in the veined look that you now see everywhere. We spend a lot of money on research and development. I know your wife is an interior designer. We love talking to interior designers to get the
We've got
latest things
vein
that
all
they're
over the
seeing.
house. Everywhere
Yeah,
there's veins. In the bathrooms, in the showers, in the kitchen.
sure.
It's vein everywhere.
And it continues to evolve. You know, for us, research and development was a huge part of what we were going to do, because when we started, you know, what you see behind me over my left shoulder was kind of what veins used to look like. You go to the other wall and you look at what veins look like today, and it's completely different.
Oh yeah.
So we have been at the forefront of that. And when we did that, we weren't looking just to draw a bunch of lines in a slab. We were really looking to make this product look as natural as possible. So when you look at our product, the depth of that material, I mean, you've seen it for yourself. The beauty of that installed, whether it's in a home or a commercial environment, is second to none. And we continue to lead the way. I mean, interesting, we have a rust color that took us close to a year to get it right. And that's something that most people, I don't think, really understand about the development side. And we continue to lead the forefront in that. So we're very excited about what the future holds. Again, we have gone from this little boutique company that we were called back in 2016, 17 to, you know, we're one of, if not the largest producer in the world now.
Yeah, our experience with Vadara was great because you got your distributor or showroom that you have is on down on the southwest side of Atlanta. It's probably a
Yep.
good hour, well, with traffic, probably could have been an hour and a half. But anyway, we did a FaceTime with the GM or the lead out there. She looked at some. She goes, "Okay, I'm going to go down there." She went down there. She picked it, got it transferred over to our fabricator. They fabricated it, brought it up, the install. I mean, but you know, when you see it from the beginning to the end, it is so cool. You know,
Yeah.
it's the coolest thing because you see it, and then when it gets installed, you're like, wow, that just looks so nice how they did that. And um, listen, you can tell the fabricator definitely is an asset if you have a good.
Without question.
You know, it's like a drywall guy. The drywall guy in the interior house can make or break what the inside of it's going to be. But the fabricator with your surfaces, and a lot of people, you know, like we 5 years ago, we probably would have put tile on the backsplash, but no, we wanted to
Sure.
get matched. We wanted the ends. I forget what they call it with the
Waterfall.
waterfall. Thank you. I was having a brain fart there.
No
Anyway, but
worries.
the waterfall looks so nice. And whoever came up with that idea was so smart because it was just adding those two little, end caps basically on, that go down to the floor. But it's just it looks so cool. And the whole experience with Vadara, from picking it to going to the showroom to getting it to our fabricator to getting it installed, it was a seamless, no pun intended. And and she's really, really happy. And just the people that have come in to look at the house as we've we were building it, they were like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And we tell them, and so the product speaks for itself. So you were definitely on on the right tangent when you were thinking about that vein. And I can see because when you're doing the rust color, you probably went through so many different times where you're like,
Oh,
it's nice, but we should go this way and that. It's like me with my magazine. I look at it 150 times, but by the time it comes out,
yeah,
I'm already two issues down. But I know people are like, oh wow, but I'm not wowed by it. But I've looked at it enough where, hey, I don't like that, or I want to swap out this, or so I have that same kind of attitude or mindset when I'm looking at stuff. But when you know okay, that's the one that we want it to be.
yeah.
That's
Well,
the
you gotta kind of set your ego aside, right? A little bit, because you mentioned it. It takes a village to do manufacturing all the way to that final install product in your home. And we say that we speak to the consumer through the trade, right? And the trade is everybody from your wife is the designer to the fabrication company, the installation guys. There are so many dots that need to be connected to give that homeowner, in this case you, that wow. No picture is going to do it justice.
nope.
You can look at a full slab. So you kind of have to put your ego aside. We are not designers. We are not color specialists. We rely on a team of designers that have worked with us almost since inception. And there are times when you'll pull your hair out. It's kind of like, hey, wait a minute, can we go with this? No. And that rust is a perfect example. It's not orange. I know our corporate headquarters is in Texas, but it's not Texas orange.
Yeah,
It's not Tennessee orange. It's not brown.
it's rust.
It's a true rust. And designers see that,
Yeah.
and we spend a lot of time with the design world day in and day out, as I'm sure you do. And they educate us every single day. And so we listen. And we bring those products to market. And for us, we have a saying that perfection is the enemy of progress. And the way we get good at what we've done over the last 5 or 6 years is we made a lot of bad slabs in the beginning, trying to get it right. And now it's a well-oiled machine, and they do an amazing job. But, the design community is a big part of that,
Hmm.
in educating us because, we're not designers. Fabrication companies, same thing. The right fabrication company makes or breaks the deal. At
Oh
the
yeah.
end of the day, they make or break it. And fabricators come in all shapes and sizes. There are fabricators that are really good at one thing, might not be as good at another. So it just really depends on what, people are looking for. But yeah, fabricators play a huge role in your enjoyment, your wife's enjoyment of that finished product.
She had picked three different ones, and then when she went down there, she was like, "Oh no, that's the one that I want." And it's kind of like seeing a video of the balloons festival in New Mexico, but if you go there in person, it's completely
Oh,
different.
dude. Yeah.
It's the same. It's on the same tangent, but on a much grander
Yep. No,
scale.
you're right. You're right. And yeah, you want to talk about color?
Yeah,
Yeah. Come to the Balloon Fiesta.
yeah.
No, so we take it very seriously. We're in a competitive environment, as most people are. There's a lot of people that produce quartz. But our goal from inception was to make it look as natural as possible. We focus on vein. That's all we do. So our color offering from the top to the bottom is about vein. We are very systematic about the way that we do it. We know that 90% of the marketplace is going to pick something neutral. We also don't believe in just having 150 different options to choose from. So we try to be on the leading edge through the designers, try to introduce materials faster to the marketplace because it takes a while. It takes a time from inception to looking at it. Showrooms and galleries play a critical role. You can only do so much on an 8x10 sample. Even showrooms have evolved. This one behind me is kind of a new generation where you don't necessarily have to see a full slab, but you need to see something big enough that will really give you the idea. And then the QR code kind of helps to show you the patterns. So, a lot goes into every decision that we need to make to keep moving forward.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my laptop here and I'm just going to show everybody what my surface looks like. So I'm going to turn this around. So hopefully you can see it, but this is our island. And then the backsplash is on the back there. It matches it. And if you don't know what a waterfall is, this is what a waterfall looks like. It's the edge
There you go.
down. And then what we did was we also matched, we have a little sidebar here that we did. And once again, we matched it all. And anyway, that's kind of what it looks
Well,
like.
you have a great designer.
What's that?
I said, you have a great designer.
Yeah, she laughs at me. She's like, you don't know anything about color. I'm like, I build a magazine every month. I always look at color.
Yeah,
I have an artist. He does it all. You know what? There's no I in team. So
that's right.
I had to do everything, but I have a
Yeah.
great artist. I have a great editor. My wife, she's a color consultant, but she designed the house. We built it, and I installed the fence. I did some of the year. I mean, I did stuff here. But when you hire the right people
Yeah.
and you have the right tools, you can do anything. And um, you know, like I said, when we did this house, I said, look, we're going to have to find a grader, a concrete guy, a framer, but all the other interior stuff she already had. We don't have to babysit these people. She takes care of them, she pays them, she feeds them lunch,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and they're getting pulled by other jobs. But when and she's a tough cookie. She's a contractor, installer, and but I just said, look, we have the right people. We'll go find the right people, and pretty much everybody we worked with, we take. Our plumber, communication. He spoke Portuguese. It was a little rough, but he did good work. And but for the most part, all the subs that we had, we would definitely use again. But people that come in, they always look at the surface material. It's the grand thing that in our area. Where it's a southern ranch. We have a little upstairs, but everything's on the main floor. It's like a big circle, and but we were so happy that we chose. We went with you guys, and it was extremely like I said, seamless from start to finish. And we're really psyched to give it a nice splash, in the magazine coming up. And we have a couple other, got a renovation job and a new build that we're bidding on to do. And one person already walked in the house that said, "Oh, well, if we get the bid, you get the job. We're going to go with that surface material." So we already have another job.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be the same one, but uh,
Well, it's we call it cabinet jewelry. We make. I've got a lot of friends in the cabinet business, and we always laugh. It's a good thing we're around, so we make you guys look good with your
yeah.
cabinets. But yeah, we call it cabinet jewelry.
So as today basically is the end of the month. We're 6 months into 2025. We have the second half of the year and then going into 2026. Are there any trends that you see, other than, you talked about rust, but is there anything else that our
Yeah,
listeners
we're
might
actually
find
getting
of
ready
interest?
to here late summer and early fall. We're going to be in 5 new colors, 5 new patterns. The trend obviously over the last, I don't call it year, has been to warmer tones, both in background and in veining, and we've always kind of taken that middle road. So we're excited to introduce those. we're going to be introduced, and several of those are in the Taj family in the stone world, which is kind of a classic look.
Yeah, the Taj thing, that's a
Yeah,
technical surface material term.
and I don't know if they've shown it to you, but yeah, we're very excited about introducing that. We're also going to be introducing those in super jumbo. We have made those as big as you can physically make them on a production line, which is one slab is going to be just north of 78 square feet.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think we got four slabs to do the island, the backsplash, and the side, and then
yeah,
and the waterfalls. That's about what it took to get it done. But
well, it's
it's so.
funny because we call those jumbo, and they were because when I started in this business, you were lucky to get 48 square feet in a
Mhm.
slab. Then it moved to 55. Our slabs now are not small. Those are called jumbo, but super jumbo is going to be in a whole different world. And we're very excited about that. I mean, there are some tremendous advantages, and certainly with a pattern like a Taj Mahal, you want to be able to have an island that would be seamless. So we're very excited about that. Warm is definitely trending. We look at numbers usually about 40% cool, 40% warm, and 20% somewhere kind of cool and warm. But warm is definitely trending, so we're softening up some backgrounds at the same time, bringing a little more of that creamy look to it. We'll also be introducing on one of those Tajes a new leather finish.
Oh wow.
What you've got in your kitchen is our version of a polished finish, which is not as high gloss as you would see in stone in those things. You got to be very careful when you're dealing with veins. But this new leather finish, we're really excited for people to see that as well. So that's coming up late August, early September. Those will start to arrive in the U.S. So, that's kind of what we see going forward. We'll continue to move with Super Jumbo. And, we've always got things in the hopper in terms of what's the next generation of veining
No.
and what can we do. But those are going to be introduced here just in a few short months.
It's funny when you were talking about multifamily, in 2020 when everything went kaput, multifamily kind of just took off and we added a section into it and we've done, several covers with it and it's just endless the amount of
Yeah,
construction going on. But I hear there's a housing shortage out there. So I told my wife, I go, look, let's do a couple of projects of, new builds and you can do some of these other, projects, I call them foo-foo, but she's like, they're not foo-foo. It's bedrooms, I mean, kitchens, bathrooms, and
right.
but I'm like, yeah, but it's not what we, it's a 3 week project. This was 10 months, to build. And
Yeah,
but I'll tell you, when you see the fruits of your labor, and like I said, you pick the right stuff, when it all comes together, it just looks so nice. And like I said, we've had an awesome experience. If someone was out there in commercial construction coffee talk land and they wanted to bounce some questions off you, or talk about some of the things that you have coming up, how would someone reach out to you?
sure. Well, there's a couple of different ways you can email me. It's really easy. It's edr@ussurfaces.com. If you want to see everything on Vadara, go to the website at vadara.com. There's a contact us button. I get all those inquiries. Or if you really want to talk, you can call me 505 710 So any one of those methods of communication work. I see all of those inquiries. We'll be happy to answer it. And on the multifamily side, we're actually going to start introducing some vein materials that are budget appropriate to the multifamily world because for so long it's been white, sort of white, and kind of white, and throw in a little gray every now and then. But we've got some things that will really help them from an aesthetic point of view, that wow factor, which helps lease apartments. But yeah, those are some exciting introductions that we'll have later this year for that specific channel. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Phone's always on. Emails get answered quickly, and website might take me a minute, but I'll get back to you for sure.
Well, I'll put all of Ed's information in the description when I edit the video, and I'll put some sub captions in there, so it'll be on there as you're watching it. But listen, if anybody wants to reach me, I'm at David C at ccr-mag.com. And the whole reason why I actually found Vadara was the publicist had sent me a press release. And then I knew one of the business development persons there, and we started talking. And I told him about what we were doing, building the house. And he's like, "Hey, have you ever seen this?" And then I shot the press release to my wife, and she's always looking at stuff, and she had marked it. And then we went and it's just like anything. If you don't play, if you don't buy a ticket for the lottery, you can't win. If you don't send me something, I
Yeah.
can't look at it. And that's how I ended up having Ed's material, in this build. So uh, we post everything all day. I have two nice ladies up in Chicago that post for me all day long. And don't judge a book by its cover. Send it to me. It could be a new product release. It could be an anniversary for your company. It could be a charity golf tournament. It could be a trade school thing that you're doing. Send it to me. Very tough to get in the magazine, but we have a bunch of different platforms that we post on every day. Send it to us. We make sure your meta tag, the title's the right amount of characters. It's Google indexed. We send the URL. It's a win-win. It's good for your SEO, which is your search engine optimization. That's how Google finds you, and it's a win-win. So send me something. And I'm a content creator right now these days, and we just love. I can't get enough data to look at. So send it to me, and we'll get it posted for you. And who knows, you might even end up in the magazine, but like I said, you got to send me something to look at. So as we finish up, Ed, uh, if there was one positive thought or phrase, as we're coming into the halfway point of 2025, what would it be, for our listeners, and even for
Well, for me,
myself?
it's really about people, product, and process. We live by that. This is a people business. So reach out. Whether you're a multifamily developer, you're doing any other kind of commercial or residential, we'll work very diligently to try to make something fit for you. Product. Without good product, this conversation doesn't go very far. And then the right process to get it to market. But that's what I would say. To me, it's always been people, product, and process. And it starts with people. So reach out, just like you said. Reach out, share, call us. We're happy to help, but it all starts with people. We're in a people business, and keep looking forward. Um,
Yeah. I always tell people, don't look back because the scoreboard doesn't change. If you forgot what the
no,
score
no,
was,
no, can't run a race in the rearview mirror. You're not going to win the Indy 500 that way.
no, no,
There's a reason they don't have rearview mirrors.
yeah, and they only remember the winner. They don't remember second place.
That's a fact.
You
That's a
know,
fact.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's I run about I don't know 5-7 miles a day, and I last year I did a positive thought. This year I'm doing my word of the day, and I don't think I've done product in there. I'll have to find a bridge in there to use it. So, but people, process, product, I like it. The three P's, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably not original, but that's kind of been the mantra for us because look, we're all in the people business. You are, I am, we all are. You want good products to take care of what you need taken care of, and then you have to have the right process in place, which means talking to designers, talking to all those folks, getting that feedback from people. Don't judge it because those veins look good. Oh, that must be expensive. You might be surprised at what we can do if we collaborate.
Oh yeah. That's the one thing I'm going to tell people out there. If you're doing a build, you have a budget, you got to stand by it. But sometimes you might want to, you can spend more money and not have a great product, or you spend less money and get
Yeah,
the product that you want. But when you need to spend money, spend it because in the long scheme of things, when you cross the finish line, you're going to look back and
yeah,
a case in point with our shutters. We could have gone with cheaper shutters in here, but we went with a beautiful brand, the installer, and they just changed the whole interior, just like the surface material made our kitchen. So, you just have to kind of weather it but I understand about budgets. So
yeah. And we do as well. It can absolutely be. Look, we can. There's a million things we can do if we're talking to one another about making sure it fits for you, because we understand those as well. But if we don't talk, If it's not person to
Yeah.
person, we don't know what we're missing until we see it somewhere else.
So as we finish up, couple things. Number one, if you're out there on the construction site, it's sizzling hot down here in the ATL, okay? Very, very hot. So if you're on the construction site, make sure that you're drinking a lot of water. Put some electrolytes in your bottle. Make sure you're staying hydrated and liquefied because when you get dehydrated, this is the athlete in me. You make mistakes, you make bad passes, you get headaches. If you stay liquefied, number one, you're gonna have a great day on the site. Number two, you're gonna go home, you're gonna have a good dinner, you're gonna enjoy your night, but you're gonna sleep so much better and get up and be able to do it again the next day. Number two, uh, we want you to make sure that you hit the like button so people can find the algorithms on YouTube so people can find this episode. And uh, but staying liquefied, being safe and hitting the like button. So Ed's story about his father, about Vadara, about his creating all this stuff. It's just an amazing story. So we really appreciate it. So Ed, any final thoughts from out in New Mexico before we sign off?
Well, Balloon Fiesta is the first weekend in October, Dave, just so you know. Thank you for the opportunity to share our story. Thank you to all your listeners, your viewers, for giving us an opportunity. And it's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to take you up on the invite when I come out there, and
All right.
it's on my bucket list. So I got to get down. I'm
Okay.
turning 62 this weekend, so as long as I don't lose my eyesight or get arthritis, I'll be doing this for a long time, and I'm going to get out there. So
You
uh,
and me both.
yeah,
Okay, man. I'm writing that down.
yeah, no, hey, listen, if I get the invite, I take it up. So we're probably about the same age, It's
Yeah,
you
I'm a
might feel
little older than
26,
you. Yeah, I'm a little older than you, but that's okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I
So,
can hang.
well, everybody, listen, have a great rest of this TGIF. Have an awesome weekend. You got a short holiday week next week. It's the 6 month, hiatus. Look back at what you did and accomplish the first 6 months. Tweak,
Yep.
revise, take a look, and then go gung ho for the remainder of the year. It's an amazing time to be alive, and there's just so much going on in the world. And that stuff you can't control. Just keep your blinders on, stay positive and rock and roll because it's just amazing what's going on, business wise in the country. It's going to explode here, if not
I
already.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So with that, say goodbye from New Mexico.
Adios.
Adios. And I'm going to say adios from Lake Lanier. It's about 25 miles north of downtown Atlanta. And, eh, everybody, enjoy your weekend, like I said, and have a great rest of the second half of the year. And we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Ed, thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. All right.
David, I as well. Thank you so much.
All right. And we'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody.